So I presented the studies that we have operating at Great Ormond Street Hospital that have been developed in conjunction with investigators at UCL. And I presented 3 studies, the CARPAL study, which is use of a low affinity CD19 CAR in autologous T cells, used to treat children and young adults with advanced ALL. And we demonstrated good efficacy and a low toxicity profile that looks reasonably favourable with excellent CAR T-cell expansion and persistence, but with the development of CD19 negative relapse in a smaller proportion of patients, which is similar to the results found from the US studies. I then presented the Amelia study. This is a strategy to try and overcome CD19 negative relapse, and this has been developed in conjunction with the UCL spin-off company Autolus. Here we're using bispecific CAR T cells that express both a CD19 CAR and a CD22 CAR. This is yet in an early phase. They're developing the ideal dose and will roll out to a phase 2 expansion cohort shortly, but the data from that study is still very early. And then I also presented data available from the UCART study, which is the use of universal CD19 CAR T cells, which are generated from a healthy donor. And this has been used to date in 20 patients, including 7 patients with paediatric ALL at Great Ormond Street. And I presented information from the therapy of 6 patients as were available last year at EHA. And essentially, there have been a flow MRD negative remission obtained in 5 out of 6 patients. There have been 3 subsequent deaths, 2 patients with progressive disease and 1 patient who died in remission related to transplant complications because this treatment is delivered in conjunction with an allogeneic transplant, and unfortunately these patients have advanced disease and unfortunately can succumb to the transplant process itself. Yeah, so the academic programme is reasonably limited in terms of slots at the current time, but we are developing expansion cohorts, and so there will be more slots available in general. But because of the previous restriction on manufacturing slots, previously we had to restrict patients to those within the UK because we weren't able to meet the needs of our own patient population in the UK. Now, as we move on to the expansion cohorts, it may well be possible that we can take on patients from abroad, for example. But unfortunately, up until now, the answer we've had to give is that we need to treat UK patients first. And then there's also the development of the availability of the licensed product, and this will also potentially generate extra space, which may mean that we can expand our studies to patients from outside the UK. The CARPAL study will be published with the complete data from the first cohort, and an expansion cohort is planned. The Amelia study won't report at ASH this year, but possibly next year. And the UCART study is being presented in more detail at ASH this year.